can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, there's much going on in the world of sports. On the show today, we bring you more from the Cricket World Cup that is underway in the Americas. There are some concerns that the two host nations are grappling with. I'll tell you what they are, and has the biggest event gotten off to a bit of a shaky start? Vinicius Jr may have started off his career very shakily in the world of football, but today he stands as a top contender for the very prestigious Ballon d'Or. What a turnaround it has been, and what are the adversaries that he's had to overcome to get here when all he is just 23 years old. Speaking of top contenders, clutch, comebacks and chess championships. There's a reason all these words are synonymous with chess master Magnus Carlsen. We'll tell you how. But first, a look at the headlines at Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the T20 World Cup, Namibia beat Oman in the first super over of the edition of the tournament. Both of them were tied at 109 runs. In the super over, Namibia set a target of 22 runs for Oman. In response, Oman managed to score 10 runs, beaten by 11 then. Former Indian cricketer and Kolkata mentor Gautam Gambhir has broken his silence on the big coaching offer from the Indian board. At a public event, he said he would love to coach the Indian national men's team if given a chance. The remarks, of course, come after India's cricket board, the BCCI, invited applicants for the head coach role. Current coach Rahul Dravid's contract will expire after the T20 World Cup this month. Over in football and the Champions League, London police made more than 50 arrests at the Champions League final. The arrests were made over security breach by the fans during the game. 3 fans have been arrested for invading the pitch during Real Madrid's game against Borussia Dortmund. Turkish football club Fenerbahce unveiled their new manager, Jose Mourinho. Mourinho was present at the club stadium where fans gathered in massive numbers. Mourinho has signed a 2-year deal with the club. The Portuguese last managed Italian side AS Roma, where he was sacked in January this year. Mourinho's first task will be to lead Fenerbahce to the league title, which they haven't won since 2014. And over in tennis and the French Open, world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz defeated Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-3, 6-3, 6-1. With this win, Alcaraz sets up a very interesting quarter-final clash against Stefanos Tsitsipas. Over in the women's draw, world number 1 Iga Świątek continued her march towards a 4th French Open title. She demolished Anastasia Potapova 6-love in just 40 minutes. With the win, Świątek too is through to the quarterfinals. The first weekend, and in fact the first day of any mega event, is massive. It sets the tone for the whole tournament. And there are so many aspects to a big sporting event, right? Getting the stadiums ready on time, managing the players, the teams and their schedules, the fan engagement and the viewing experience, the logistics and security, the media management, right to the promotion of the event. There's a lot at stake, and something can go wrong anytime, anywhere. Now imagine all of this and multiply it many times over for a World Cup event, and one that is happening in the Americas for the very first time, the Cricket World Cup. It seems to have started off a little shakily at the US and the West Indies over the weekend when the tournament kicked off. There have been a few concerns that have emerged already, and I'll tell you more about it. Some of the cricket has been promising though, like USA beating Canada in a tight, high-scoring finish, starring a manic knock by Aaron Jones, whose unbeaten 94 of 40 deliveries announced the tournament open for one of the host countries at least. I'll come back to why I say this in just a bit and you'll know. Yes, Jones lighting it up for USA, and to think he grew up playing for the other host country, Barbados, before moving and playing for the US. So what are these concerns from the first weekend at the T20 World Cup? First up, security. Now, let me tell you at the start that all of this information is what we are getting from sources to me and at Firstpost and Network 18's Cricket Next. Now, USA has hosted mega events in the past. There is no question there, but never a cricket event. The one relatively new concept for the organizers here is the fan craze, especially for fans from the subcontinent that they have for the Indian cricket team, particularly for some of the top stars. There's a massive fan following and it's managed to cross continents over to reach USA. We saw a first-hand glimpse of that on India's first day out on the ground during the warm-up game against Bangladesh. Watch what happened. A fan broke through security, ran onto the ground and managed to hug and meet the Indian captain Rohit Sharma. The authorities managed to reach him and it transformed to a bit of a battleground, with the New York police getting physical with the fan, almost like a rugby tackle or a scene from American football. That's what a scrum would look like there on your screens. Rohit Sharma, who was trying to maintain some distance from the fan, had to walk back to the cops to tell them to go a little easy on the fan. A few of the Indian support staff also ran over, had to gently tell the cops, this is not new, it happens. But that's the thing, this is completely new territory for USA, who've been given the first lessons of cricket fandom for the sport and its cricketers, particularly from spectators of the subcontinent, which will be most of the crowd at these venues, considering the melting pot the US is. Now, if you've watched football in Europe and cricket in the subcontinent, you'd know what I mean. Fans are an integral part of the sport. But that's not just it. The first India game, and let me remind you, it was still a warm-up game, was chaotic to say the least. Many of the people who were supposed to get to the stadium for various purposes, from the broadcast crew to the logistics personnel, and even the players, were stopped miles before the gate, had to walk the rest of the way to the ground. There were delays in broadcast, commentators failed to reach the ground in time for the shows and the commentary stints, and it was mayhem in the lead-up to India's warm-up encounter. But why the chaos? Now, it of course dates back to a few days prior to the weekend, with USA receiving security threats to the much-awaited, much-anticipated India versus Pakistan clash that's set to take place on the 9th of this month in New York at Nassau. It's reported that SWAT teams with snipers have been deployed at several locations on the ground, and police officers in civil uniforms will also be present inside the stadiums. This, of course, is to prepare for the threats coming from militant organizations such as the ISIS. Additionally, the Long Island authorities received a threat of a lone wolf attack on the marquee clash. Now, what's a lone wolf attack? It's an act of terrorism that is driven by an individual and not supported by any organization or government. Now, here's the thing. According to reports, since 2006, 98% of all the deaths from terrorism in the US have resulted from attacks carried out by lone wolves. So a bit of tension, being a little over-prepared and on high alert, is understandable and natural in these circumstances. The governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, was quick to jump onto social media, though, to allay fears, saying there was really no hard credibility to these threats as such, and they're doing all that they can in ensuring that the matches are secure, and the India-Pakistan one in particular goes without any glitches. Because of this, security was beefed up for the players. The video of Virat Kohli being escorted to the stadium, in fact, went viral. He was heavily guarded by security personnel as he made his way to a warm-up game. So too skipper Rohit Sharma. Now, you can only imagine what that cordoned-off zone will look like when India plays its first group game. That's this Wednesday. And then, of course, the big one against Pakistan over the weekend. Now, a day after that, of course, reports came out saying there is no clamp down on any of the Indian cricketers. They can go about the city without any concern or restrictions. I still doubt Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma can do that, but that's besides the point. If security and impending nerves ahead of the India-Pakistan encounter is the biggest concern for USA at the moment, the biggest worry for the other hosts, the West Indies, is the lack of interest from their own cricket fans. Now, take a look at the stadium. These are some pictures we have of the first group game that West Indies played over the weekend in Guyana. There is literally no one there. No crowd to cheer their home side on at a World Cup. Now compare this to the turnout at Nassau for India's warm-up game, to West Indies' tournament opener, a country that has won this tournament twice. That's more than India has. And the contrast is yet massive. And this is a country that plays a lot of cricket, unlike USA, where cricket is making its debut. Now, why did Guyana not show up? Firstly, timing of the matches. That is a major concern. The matches are at 8 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time, which is 10:30 a.m. in the morning in Guyana. That's not a time to watch cricket, and a T20 game at that, which will get over in some hours by afternoon. West Indies as a country is a late riser, especially on a weekend after a late night. And over weekdays, that problem will only compound as it's working days. How does the ICC plan to get around this? The other issue, of course, is the ticket pricing. The minimum cost for a ticket to watch West Indies play is $22 US, which is 4,600 Guyana dollars. The standard seating costs $45 US, around close to 10,000 Guyana dollars, which is big for Guyana. The ICC has faced a lot of flack from fans regarding this. On one of the main ticketing websites today, I saw a special offer going up wherein you could purchase 3 matchday tickets for the price of 2. This is for the matches in West Indies. Will that be enough to undo what's already happened though and get the cricket-loving crowds at the West Indies back? Yes, the intention of the International Cricket Council is commendable. Take the sport to every corner and places that has not seen it. But at what cost? The timing needs to be kept, keeping viewership in mind, and every match cannot have different timings. There needs to be uniformity. It's a tough balancing act, no doubt, but that's what's required to appease the biggest stakeholders of the game, one of whom happen to be fans. Like the West Indians, who've been cricket lovers from long before many of the associate teams here present even decided to play cricket professionally. From security concerns over at USA to lack of crowd and buzz in the West Indies, the ICC rather, has its hands pretty much full at the moment, and it's only week 1. Now picture this, a young Brazilian kid far from home with dreams as big as the Maracanã Stadium. A kid with immense talent and hunger for one thing and one thing alone, glory in football. That kid is Vinicius Jr. It's hardly been 2 days since Real Madrid won the Champions League final at Wembley, but everyone is still reeling from it. All talk has centered around Real Madrid's historic number 15. Utter dominance by one Spanish club, Toni Kroos's final game, the pictures of his nostalgic farewell splashed across social media, Ancelotti's cigar dance, the man letting his hair down after quite a season. And topping all of that, and topping that list, Vinicius Jr. He scored the winner for Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund in the 83rd minute. The success story of Vinicius Jr. is rather extraordinary. At 23, he's already won 2 Champions League titles and 3 La Liga titles with the Spanish giant. But that's just the good things. Like most romance stories, the one featuring Vinicius and his first love, football, has its fair share of trials and obstacles. From facing adversaries, racism, his own teammates doubting his talent, and criticisms from his own home fans. He somehow braved all that, so far, to now being a frontrunner for the prestigious Ballon d'Or. What you heard there was chants of all fans gathered after that final, chanting Vinicius' name and attaching Ballon d'Or to it. From taunts to chants, that was right after the Champions League win, and it would have definitely been music to Vinicius' ears because Vinicius has had a very busy time under the spotlight. He burst onto the scene at his boyhood club, Flamengo, in 2017, a talent that was impossible to ignore. And Real Madrid saw that potential, and as soon as Vinicius turned 18, they signed him up. And that too for a massive sum of $50 million. That is a heavy sum for an 18-year-old, but it was Vinicius' talent that earned him the price. But with great talent comes great pressure, and Vinicius faced a lot of heat early on. First, it was adjusting to Spain, and when Vinicius came to Madrid, he was still a raw talent that needed some amount of grooming. He faced criticism from pundits for his lack of finishing abilities. Now, criticism for his football is still fine. The Brazilian took it on his chin and worked on it. But racism is a whole new game, and Vinicius was facing a lot of it. In his 6 years at Madrid, there have been more than a dozen instances of racist taunts hurled at Vinicius, in different ways, from calling him monkey to mocking him on the field to burning his effigies. Episodes that can break anyone's spirit, more so that of a young footballer in his early 20s, and one who's away from home.
I just want to play soccer, do everything for my club and for my family. I see what's really going on. I'm getting sadder and sadder. I feel less and less like playing anymore, but I'll keep fighting.
That was just some months ago, and no wonder he was in tears. And you can probably think, all right, these are things outside the field. Sure, it's tough and not easy to hear all of this, but it's not in your control. So you might tell the kid, just try to block it all out. Shut up the noise and focus on the pitch, the game. Sounds about okay, but what about your teammates? What if resistance comes from them? In 2020, during a Champions League game between Real Madrid and Borussia Mönchengladbach, Madrid's legend Karim Benzema told another player not to pass the ball to Vinicius. That may be Benzema did not trust a kid with enough skills at this level, that he probably questioned the scouts who picked Vinicius, doubted his very talent, would be shattering. Benzema even said Vinicius is playing against us. Now imagine a 20-year-old being subjected to that. A football great doubting his talent and his loyalty. Could have made Vinicius feel small, defeated, maybe even go on to doubt himself. But that didn't break Vinicius either. In fact, it made him stronger. All of this strengthened him and made him a stronger player, helped him rise up the ranks. Now look, I'm not crediting racism or bullying as reasons to his success. I'm just saying it had to take a lot. Immense resolve, grit, and a certain mental fortitude to battle against all odds. And Vinicius fought it all alone. Instead of faltering and succumbing to the noise, he used it as fuel to drive him and his dreams. He converted every criticism and every obstacle into an opportunity to prove the world wrong. Take the Champions League final, for instance. Madrid played defensively in the first half. It was goalless, and their manager, Carlo Ancelotti, was not pleased and reprimanded Vinicius at halftime.
I scolded him a little because I think that in the first half we were a little lazy and we had losses that we normally haven't had. They played how they wanted and they were very dangerous.
And we all saw what happened after that scolding. Real Madrid were more swift. They moved through the ground with ease, and more importantly, their number 7, Vinicius, was fired up to make things better for Madrid and make it work for him. That has been the underlying story of the rise of this footballer, who fought and emerged out of gloom and despair to now being football's shining star. Vinicius' transformation has been truly remarkable, and the sight of fans literally carrying their new hero on their shoulders, the redemption nearly complete. Visuals that can give you goosebumps. Life, it seems to have come a full circle for Vinicius. The youngster has been the driving force behind Real Madrid's success, we know that now, and even emerging as one of their leaders. You could sense, if you hadn't, by the way the team was rallying around Vinicius, and it showed how they play around him is how they party around him too.
Una energía.
We have learned so much from Tony. It was his last time. We have learned from Nacho, Luca, from Danny, who have won so many times. And the young here today want to win many more.
Whatever he said after that victory shows how much he's grown in Madrid as a player, as a person, crediting the past, crediting the previous superstars and seniors like Cruz, and promising the Madrid crowd more trophies to come. It's a clear sign that he has a strong belief in his own abilities to take this legacy forward. Of not just his place in the club, but also his place in the sport itself. And it's not just his teammates who are taking note. Fans at Bernabeu have been chanting Vinicius' name, and why not? He's wearing that number 7 jersey, a jersey number worn by Cristiano Ronaldo and Raul in the past, two of the strongest minds in the world of football. Vinicius is not just doing justice to his skills, but also to that number 7 jersey, the weight of that number 7 jersey. And now, with the Copa America on the horizon, Vinicius Jr has another chance to cement his place among footballing elite. A strong performance for Brazil could well be the final piece in the puzzle when it's Vinicius' quest for Ballon d'Or. The world of chess, one name stands out above the rest. Magnus Carlsen, who's setting the bar high with his consistent victories time and again. Now, it's not just Carlsen's titles that make him a champion like none other, but it's the way he wins those titles, the manner in which he crushes all opposition that really matters. After losing to R Praggnanandhaa in the Norway Chess third round, Carlsen slipped to 5th position in the points table, but the champion that Carlsen is bounced right back in grand style. After the 6 rounds, Carlsen is in the lead with 12 points. Not the first time Carlsen has made such a comeback. Is there a pattern to his game? His mental strength that always helps him triumph everywhere he plays. Is Magnus Carlsen chess's Houdini, the magician who can get away from any situation?
From early setbacks to triumphant victories, Magnus Carlsen's journey is nothing short of legendary. Arguably the greatest chess player of the current generation, Carlsen's quest to continuously win is unmatched. Ever since he became a grandmaster 2 decades ago, he has been part of some exceptional games and memorable tournaments. One of Carlsen's traits has been playing under pressure. When the stakes are high and winning seems impossible is when Carlsen manages to turn the tide. While many feel a good start sets the tone, for Carlsen it's the other way around. Even if he hasn't had a good start in the tournament, he will somehow turn things around. In the ongoing Norway Chess Tournament 2, Carlsen's first round matches ended in draws, and in the third round, Carlsen lost to R Praggnanandhaa. Again, many critics said he had slipped up, but that's when Carlsen stepped up. So far, he has won 3 out of his 3 games to take the solo lead in the tournament, and with 3 more rounds left, Carlsen is on the cusp of winning yet another tournament this year. Carlsen's comeback story isn't limited to just one tournament. Throughout his career, he's faced early losses only to come back stronger. Just recently, Carlsen lost 2 important matches in the initial rounds of Rapid and Blitz tournament. It felt like curtains for Carlsen. He himself came out at the end of the day and said that his nervous system had collapsed, but the comeback king had a 10-match winning streak to seal the tournament in some style. And it's not something new. It all began in the 2013 Candidates Tournament. Carlsen had a slow start with 2 draws in his opening 2 matches. He somehow made a dramatic comeback in the following rounds to win the Candidates Tournament. In the 2013 Sinkfield Cup, Carlsen had a poor start with a loss in the first round and 2 draws in the following rounds. Carlsen went on to win that tournament. In 2019, he had 2 draws and lost the third round match at Croatia Grand Chess Tour. Guess what? He won that one too. In 2023 Rapid and Blitz tournament, Carlsen experienced a minor slump. He drew 2 matches and lost once before having a 9-match winning streak to win the tournament. And in the recently concluded 2024 Blitz tournament, Carlsen after 3 draws had lost to Praggnanandhaa and was nearing a defeat. But the Norwegian followed it up with a 10-match winning streak. So what is the secret to Carlsen being such a clutch player? Someone who can soak in the pressure and yet deliver. His father Henrik Carlsen makes an acute observation.
Magnus is one of those people who sleeps better during chess tournaments. I know that other players even take sleeping pills during World Championship matches. They have to get help too, but Magnus is quite active physically. For someone like him, when you have played a lot of World Championship matches, playing in other tournaments is not so difficult, because there's nothing as tense as a World Championship.
Just relax, something that's easy to say to someone but more difficult to hone. Carlsen's ability to stay relaxed under pressure is crucial in a sport like chess. It allows him to think clearly and make calculated moves. He loves the challenges and doesn't shy away from them. There aren't too many out there like Carlsen who can completely let the pressure flow. That's why he's known to make such comebacks, because to him, it's a minor break in his flow. And he's cold and critical enough of his own performance to reset, to regroup, and make the comeback to win.
Time for last serve. The political top brass getting in on sporting action. We've seen that a number of times. Recently, US President Joe Biden invited the Kansas City Chiefs to the White House and even decided to be one with the Chiefs. Take a look at this.
Welcome back.
Take someone sporty enough to wear a red helmet with a blazer and still pass it off quite calmly. That does it here on Firstpost. I'll of course see you again a day later on Wednesday. But till then, take care. Bye-bye.